I need you to picture this. You are home alone, doing your laundry, right? And suddenly there was loss of power. Like the power went out. This wasn't unusual because the kind of neighborhood you live, there is always loss of power time and time again. But this time, or when this actually happened on this particular day, you were stuck, right? You were stuck to the washing machine. And on that panic mode, the first thing that came to your head is scream, right? So you yelled, you screamed for help because of that panic. And then you heard footsteps, someone rushing down. You heard it. And somehow you were relieved, or you were just a bit, though you were still nervous, you are still on panic mode, but you were relieved that help was on its way. But this wasn't help. It was far from it. This was disaster, catastrophe, assault, and it came through no one else but your own uncle, the trusted one of them all. This is the story of Emelda. She's 21 years old, and here is how our assault case ended. Let's proceed. So I'll be reading through the story, right? We've already done our research and everything. So let's dive into it. Emelda, 21 years old, a final year student at the State University studying communications. She was confident, independent, the kind of young woman who helped her aunt carry groceries without being asked, who stayed after family gatherings to wash dishes and pack leftovers, who made everyone laugh with stories about campus life and her dreams of becoming a journalist. Wow, such a beautiful soul. We all have people like this, one way or the other, in our families. Her eyes lit up when she talked about her future. She wanted to tell stories that mattered, stories that gave voices to people who didn't have one. She was loved. She felt safe. Why wouldn't she? This was her family. These were her people. Her uncle Marcus was always around. 44 years old. Never married. Though plenty of women in the neighborhood have shown interest over the years. He lived 3 houses down from Emelda's family in a small bungalow that he kept meticulously clean, always offering to fix things, to drive people places, to stay late and help clean up after parties. Wow. He had keys to almost everyone's house in the compound. Okay, sorry. He had keys to almost every house in the compound. People trusted him with their homes, their children, their secrets. He was the protector. Wow. I see. People like this, they tend to use the trust we have for them against us. That's just it. Predators leverage on trust. Predators, according to research, they mostly leverage on trust and they weaponize it. And that's so sad. The one who checked on elderly relatives at night, the one who made sure the compound gates were locked, the one who drove people to the hospital in emergencies. Emelda had known him her entire life. He taught her how to ride a bike when she was 7, helped her with maths homework when she was 12, drove her to her first day of the university when she was 18, meaning he was part of Emelda's life all through. Look at it now. He taught her how to ride a bike when she was 7, right? Meaning he was there at the age of 7, helped her with maths. Probably he was even there before the age of 7. I don't know if you get it. Now, he drove her to her first day of the university when she was 18. So he was Uncle Marcus, reliable, steady, safe. Or so everyone thought. Emelda never questioned it. None of them did. These were no warnings, no red flags. Of course, they were not. These weren't red flags. No red flags that anyone could see. Just a man who seemed devoted to his family. Just a niece who felt safe in her own home. But the safest places hide the quickest. But the safest places hide the quietest dangers. And monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like family. Sometimes they have a spy everyone trusts and a key to your front door. Now, let's talk about the day everything changed. It was a Tuesday morning in late September, the kind of day that starts ordinarily and ends unrecognizably. The sun rose at 6:47 a.m., casting long shadows across the compound. Birds sang in the mango tree outside Emelda's window. Her mother made breakfast. the usual scrambled eggs and toast, while her father read the morning papers. Her younger siblings, Daniel and Grace, argued about who would use the bathroom first. It was normal, mundane, right? Probably they do this every morning. The kind of morning you forget by noon. Emelda's parents left for work at 7:30 a.m. Her father worked at a bank downtown. Her mother taught a local primary school. Daniel and Grace left for school at 7:45 a.m. This shows Emelda was the only one at home, right? Their backpacks bouncing as they raced to catch the bus. By 8 a.m., Emelda was alone. I think I think probably the uncle knows this routine. I think, yeah. I think the uncle knows this routine. Let's proceed anyway. Emelda was alone. She had the day off from campus. No lectures, no group projects, just a quiet Tuesday to catch up on laundry and maybe start reading for her thesis. At exactly 10:12 a.m., the power went out, right? It was unusual. Okay, let me set this again, please. Now let's proceed. At exactly 10:12 a.m., the power went out. It wasn't unusual. The neighborhood experienced blackout at least twice a week, sometimes more during the rainy season. The hum of the refrigerator stopped. The fan in Emeda's room slowed to silence. She sighed, closed her laptop, and decided to do something productive: laundry. Right? The washing machine was old, a hand-me-down from her grandmother, temperamental. Right? It sat in a small utility room at the back of the house, tucked between the kitchen and the back door. The room was narrow, barely 6 feet wide. No windows, just a single bulb overhead, a shelf stacked with detergent bottles, and a door that stuck sometimes when the humidity was high. At 10:47 a.m., Emelda loaded the machine. She sorted clothes by colors, added detergents, adjusted the settings. The machine groaned to life, powered by the backup generator that kicked in during outages, right? She bent down to push a stray sock into the drum, and that's when the door behind her swung shut. Wow. Hard. Hard. Right? The sound echoed in the small space. She turned, tried the handle. It wouldn't budge. The latch had jammed. It happened sometimes, especially when the door was slammed. The wood swelled in humidity, and the metal lack got stuck in the frame. She wasn't worried. Not yet. Who would be? This is her house, of course. This had happened before. Usually, someone just had to jingle and handle from the outside, right? Okay, usually someone just had to jingle the handle, right, from the outside. She called out, "Hello? Anyone home?" Silence. She called again, louder this time. "Is anyone there? I'm stuck." Still nothing. She pulled her phone from her pocket. No signal. The walls in that part of the house were thick, built from solid concrete to keep the laundry room cool. Services was spotty even on a good day. She took a breath, told herself someone would have come home soon. Her mother had a free period at 11 a.m. Sometimes she came home to check on things, or maybe one of the neighbors would hear her. She pounded on the door, listened, nothing. Minutes stretched, 5, 10, 15. The room felt smaller, the hair thicker, her chest tightened. She tried the handle again, pulled harder. The metal beat into her palm. Nothing. She was starting to sweat. The generator hummed outside, but the air in the utility room was stale, hot. She sat down on the floor, back against the washing machine, told herself to stay calm. Panic wouldn't help. Then at 11:03 a.m., that is 3 past 11 a.m., she heard the front door open. Relief washed over her like cold water. She jumped on her feet, pounded on the door with both hands. "I'm stuck. Can you help? I'm in the laundry room." Footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving through the house. Closer. She pressed her ear against the door, smiled, and told herself, "Well, finally." But the footsteps stopped just outside. And in that moment, something shifted. A weight in the air, a wrongness she couldn't name. The door opened, and standing there backlit by the hallway light, was her uncle, Marcus, right? He was wearing a jeans and a polo shirt, clean, pressed. He looked normal, exactly the way he always looked. But something in his expression was different. Something in the way he was looking at her. Not like a family, not like someone who'd come to help. And this aspect is the betrayal. The betrayal. Uncle Marcus, she said, her voice came out breathless, relieved. Thank God, I've been stuck in here for almost an hour. The door jammed and I couldn't. She trailed off because he didn't move. He just stood there looking at her, studying her. Not the way family looks at family, not the way someone looks when they are about to help. There was something in his eyes, something she would never seen before, something that made her stomach drop. Uncle, her voice was smaller now, uncertain. He stepped inside. The room suddenly felt even smaller. He reached behind him and closed the door. The click of the latch echoed. You've been calling, he said. His voice was calm, too calm, measured, like he was commenting on the weather. I heard you. Wow. So he was there. He heard her. Wow. Emelda's stomach dropped. Her brain struggled to make sense of what was happening. I I need to get out. The door got stuck again. I know, he said. He moved closer one step, then another. She backed up, hit the wall. The washing machine hummed beside her, oblivious. Uncle, please, I need to. You are always running, he said. That means he cut her short. His voice was soft, almost gentle, but there was an edge to it, something sharp underneath. Always busy, always with other people, your friends, your classmates. You never have time anymore. Her hands were shaking. She pressed them against the wall behind her, trying to steady herself. I don't understand. Of course. So the only thing that came out from her mouth at that moment is she doesn't understand. And why would she? Who would understand? Then he replied, you will. He reached out, touched her shoulders. She flinched, tried to step around. He blocked her. His hands tightened. Too hard. Wow. But not hard enough to hurt her, but hard enough to hold her in place. Uncle, please, you are scaring me. I'm not going to hurt you, he said, but his eyes said something different. I just think it's time we were honest with each other. Honest about what, for God's sake? Honest about what? This is your niece. This is your niece. Honest about what? Her voice cracked. He leaned in. She could smell his colognes, something woodsy. The same scent he always wore. The same scent that used to mean safety. Now it made her want to throw up. You know I care about you, he said. I've always cared about you more than anyone else in the family. Uncle Marcus, I need you to move, please. Do you remember when you were 16? He continued, like she hadn't spoken. You came to me crying because some boy at school broke your heart. Do you remember what I told you? She did remember. He told her she deserved better, that she was special, that one day she would find someone who saw how extraordinary she was. Is that person you? Is that person supposed to be you? You are her uncle, for Christ's sake. Jesus Christ. At this time, it had made her feel better, safe. That was then. Now, those words took on a different meaning, a sickening meaning. It meant, I meant it, he said. You are special and I've been patient, so patient, waiting for you to see it, waiting for the right moment. Please, she whispered. Please don't. But he wasn't listening anymore. What happened next? Emelda would later describe as a nightmare that felt frozen in time, like being trapped underwater. She could see everything happening, could feel everything, but couldn't make her body respond the way she needed it to. Her mind recorded details she didn't want, right? The sound of the washing machine still churning, the smell of detergent mixing his colognes, The way the light flickered overhead because the bulb was old and needed replacing. The texture of the concrete, okay, the texture of the concrete wall against her back. The heat of his breath on her face. She didn't scream, not at first. Her voice disappeared. She froze. She froze. She froze. Now, most times when we're in danger, people expect us to react a certain way. All right. Sometimes we actually freeze. If you've been in danger before, you've experienced something like this, you know what I'm talking about. For some reason, you just don't have control over yourself. For some reason, I understand. The heat of his breath on her face, she didn't scream. Not at first. Her voice disappeared, swallowed by fear, by disbelief, by the impossible reality of what was happening. Fear doesn't always sound like screaming. Sometimes it sounds like silence, like the moment before a crash, when everything slows down and you realize there is no way out. Exactly. That's a perfect example. Like the sound you understand, like the second you understand that the person you trusted is the person you needed protection from. Marcus wasn't in a hurry. He moved with confidence of someone who knew no one was coming, who had planned this, who had been thinking about this for longer than Emelda wanted to imagine. He touched her face, brushed her hair from her forehead. The gentleness of it made everything worse. Don't fight this, he whispered. Wow, he was encouraging her, right? He was encouraging her. It's easier if you don't fight. But she wanted to fight. God, she wanted to fight. Wanted to scream and kick and run. But her body wouldn't cooperate. Just like I said earlier. Moments like this, as humans, we just freeze. Her legs felt like cement. Her arms hung useless at her sides. Her voice came out as nothing more than a broken whisper. It's a response psychologists call tonic immobility. Yes, that's the right word. Tonic immobility. The a kind of a state whereby the human mind does freeze. The freeze response. It happens when the brain decides that fighting or running won't work. When the only option left is to survive by going still. It's not a choice. It's a biological override. The body's last ditch effort to survive something unsurvivable. She wasn't weak. She wasn't compliant. She was trapped in a body that had stopped responding to her commands, and Marcus took full advantage of that. He pushed her against the wall. His hands moved with purpose, with entitlement, with the confidence of someone who believed he had a right to do this. To her, boundaries were crossed, clothes were moved, help was delayed. The person who should have protected her became the person who she needed protection from. She tried to speak, to say no, to push him away, but her hands felt like they belonged to someone else. Her voice came out broken, barely a whisper, and he ignored it, dismissed it, dismissed it like it was nothing, like her words didn't matter, like she didn't matter. Time wrapped, seconds felt like hours, or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe hours compressed into seconds. She couldn't tell. Her brain was fragmenting, splitting apart. One part of her was present, feeling everything, recalling everything. Another part floated somewhere above, watching from a distance, disconnected, numb. When it was over, he stepped back, straightened his shirt, adjusted his jeans, ran a hand through his hair, looked at her like nothing had happened, like he just helped her fix a broken appliance. Don't make this bigger than it is, he said. His voice was casual, dismissive. You are family. We keep things in the family. You understand? She couldn't speak. This one thing about assaults like this. At the end, they try to instill fear in the victim. In fact, they make the victim feel it is their fault that particular moment. They make the victim feel no one will believe them. They make the victim feel they will be a fool to ever try telling someone about that particular incident. And that's exactly what her uncle did here. We keep things in the family, you understand? She couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stare at him at this man she would known her entire life. This man who taught her to ride a bike, this man who was supposed to protect her. If you tell anyone, he continued, it will destroy this family. Your mother will be devastated, your father will blame himself, your siblings will grow up in a broken home. Do you want that? She shook her head, not because she agreed, but because she couldn't process what he was saying, couldn't understand how he could stand there and speak to her like she was the problem, like she was the one who needed to protect the family. Just like I said earlier. Good girl, he said. Then he opened the door, fixed the latch with a quick twist. It opened easily, like it had never been stuck at all. He walked out, just walked out, down the hallway, through the living room, out of the front door, like he would been fixing a leaking pipe, like this was just another Tuesday. Now let's talk about the silence that a mother, right? She was silent thereafter. Most victims would. In fact, most assault crimes, right? Most of them are not reported because of threats or psychological impact. Now, the silence after. Emelda stood in that utility room for 20 minutes, maybe longer. Time didn't work right anymore. She couldn't move, couldn't think. Her body felt foreign, like it belonged to someone else, like she was watching herself from a distance. The washing machine pimped. Sorry, the washing machine bimped. The cycle had finished. Life went on like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. The world had tinted on its axis and nothing would ever be the same. She finally moved, forced her legs to walk, walked to the bathroom on shaking knees, locked the door behind her, turned on the shower, stood under the spray fully clothed. The water was cold. She didn't care. She scrumbled her hands, her arms, her face, her skin, over and over. The bar of soap wore down to a silver. Her skin turned red, raw, but she couldn't feel clean. She couldn't wash it away. She peeled off her wet clothes, left them in a heap of the bathroom floor, put on her new ones, sweatpants, an oversized sweater, clothes that covered everything, that hid her. She avoided the mirror, couldn't look at herself, didn't want to see what was reflected there. This is trauma. This, there is no other definition. She was traumatized. So traumatized. Wow. She couldn't look at herself, didn't want to see what was reflected there. The rest of the day passed in fragments, disjointed pieces that didn't fit together. She sat on her bed, stared at the wall, her phone buzzed, text messages from friends, memes, invitations to hang out. She didn't respond, didn't have words. Her mother came home at about 3 p.m., called out a greeting. Emelda heard herself respond, heard her own voice say something normal, something about doing laundry, something about homework, but it didn't feel like her voice. It felt like someone else was speaking. Someone else was performing the role of daughter while the real Emelda floated somewhere far away. That evening, the family gathered for dinner. It was taco night, her mother's specialty. The kitchen smelled like seasoned beef and fresh tortillas. Danny and Grace argued about whose turn it was to set the table. Her father asked about everyone's day. Normal mundane. Wrong. Emelda sat at her usual spot, pushed food around her plate. Her mother asked why she was so quiet. Are you feeling okay, sweetheart? You look pale. I'm fine, Emelda said. Just tired. Didn't sleep well last night. Exactly. One thing I want to tell us is this: as parents, when you feel your children are acting weird, right? They're acting strange, make them comfortable enough to say something until you are convinced on the reason why they are acting that weird. Because if your child tells you I'm tired or I'm feeling I had a long day, just ask yourself, is this the first time he or she has been tired? Is this the first time he's having a long day or she's having a long day? Because come to think of it, if that wasn't the first time, then why this moodiness? Why this strange acting? So you ask yourself this as parents. Trust me, you get better answers. So she said, I'm fine. Her mother said, just tired, didn't sleep well last night. You should take some vitamins, her mother said, and maybe get to bed early tonight. Her mother nodded, first a smile, then the doorbell rang. Her father got up to answer it, and her mother's stomach dropped because she heard the voice in the hallway. His voice, Uncle Marcus. Hey, sorry to drop by unannounced, he said. I was in the neighborhood and thought I would return that drill I borrowed last week. No problem, my father said. Come in, we're just having dinner. Have you eaten? I'm good, Marcus said, but I wouldn't say no to a taco. He walked into the kitchen, sat down at the table right across from Emelda, made eye contact with her, smiled. Hey Emelda, how was your day? Her throat closed, she couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Fine, she managed. Her voice came out strangled. He held her gaze for a moment, just a moment, and that glance, there was a warning, a reminder. We keep things in the family. Emelda looked away, stared at her plates. Her hands were shaking. She hid them under the table. He laughed at something her father said. So Emelda was at that point remembering what her uncle told her after the assault. Now, complimented her mother's cooking, asked Daniel about his soccer, right? This was Uncle Daniel now. He complimented her mother's cooking, asked Daniel about his soccer game, ruffled Grace hair, played the role of beloved uncle perfectly, and Emelda realized something terrifying. He was good at this. This was practice, rehearsed. He knew exactly how to be the person everyone trusted while being someone completely different behind closed doors. This is how predators actually behave. This is how they act. This is their tool. Like I said earlier, their greatest weapon is trust. They make sure they are trusted by workers. They make sure they are loved. They make sure they are respected. They make sure they are valued. So when they are being accused, your first reaction will be disbelief. In fact, you will think the victim is accusing them wrongly. You will blame the victim. And this is why some survivors don't speak up. This is why. Now, she excused herself, that is Emelda. She excused herself, said she had a headache, went to her room, locked the door, sat on her bed in the dark. She thought if she stayed quiet, maybe it would disappear. Maybe she could pretend it didn't happen. Maybe it would hurt her less if she didn't say it out loud. Maybe she could protect her family from the truth. Maybe keeping the secret was the same as keeping the peace. But silence doesn't erase trauma. It buries it. And buried things don't stay buried. They rot, they fester, they poison everything from inside out. Now let's talk about the signs everyone missed. Because of course, things like this don't just happen. There must be signs. And because some people deliberately ignore these signs or do not see these signs, they subconsciously support things like this. Exactly. They subconsciously let things like this happen. I think that's the right word. Now let's talk about the signs. Over the next 2 weeks, Emelda changed. Not all at once, not dramatically, but in a small, creepy ways that added up to someone unrecognizable. She stopped going to campus. At first, she made excuses. She was sick, she had cramps, she had too much work to do from home. Then she just stopped making excuses. These are changes you see, and you know immediately something is wrong. Right? She stopped answering calls from friends, let messages pile up on red. Her best friend Maya showed up at her house once, knocked on her bedroom door. Emelda, are you okay? You haven't been in class in a week. Professor Bennett is asking about you. I'm fine, Emelda said through the door. Just need some space. Space from what? Did something happen? No, nothing happened. I need to be alone right now. Hmm. Hmm. It's alright. Maya stood outside the door for a moment, alright, then left. She texted later. Emelda didn't respond. She moved through the house like a ghost, silent, invincible, present but not really there. Her mother noticed she wasn't eating. Every meal, Emelda pushed food around her plate, took a few bites, claimed she was full. We are getting too thin, her mother said. Are you sure you are feeling okay? Maybe we should take you to the doctor. I'm fine, said Emelda, just stressed about exams. But there were no exams, not for another month. Her father noticed she jumped at loud noises, the slam of a door, the clatter of a dropped pan, footsteps in the hallway. Her whole body would be tense. That's trauma. That's trauma. She's frightened. She has been traumatized. Wow. Her eyes would go wide. Her breath would stop. Emelda, you're on the edge, he said. Are you getting enough sleep? Maybe you should cut back on caffeines. Yeah, she said maybe. But she wasn't drinking caffeine. She was barely sleeping. Every night she lay in the bed, stared at the ceiling, listening to every sound, that creak of the floorboards, the hum of her air conditioner, the distant bark of a dog. She couldn't turn her brain off, couldn't stop replaying that moment. The utility room, his hands, his voice, his eyes, her younger sister Grace. Man, sorry. Okay. Yeah, his hands, his voice, his eyes. Now, her younger sister Grace noticed she locked her bedroom door now, even during the day, even when she was just sitting at her desk. Why is your door always locked? Grace asked one afternoon. I never used to have to knock. I like my privacy, her mother replied. Are you mad at me? Did I do something? No, sweetie, you didn't do anything, I promise. Grace looked at her, really looked at her. You seem sad. Emelda's throat tightened. I'm just tired. But Grace was right. Emelda was sad. More than sad. She was drowning. Marcus kept showing up. Predators. I think what Marcus is doing this time is to make sure his threats were working. These are exactly how predators. They show up to subconsciously tell you they are watching. They subconsciously tell their victim that, hey, I'm still here. That's just it. Marcus kept showing up, not every day, but enough. He came by on Sunday lunch, helped her father fix a leaking faucet, brought ice cream for the kids. Every time he acted normal, friendly, kind. Every time her mother felt like she was going to throw up. Once he offered to drive her to campus. Okay, once he offered to drive her to campus. I'm heading to that direction anyway, he said. No sense in you taking the bus. I'm not going to the campus today, Emelda said quickly. I have to walk. I have work to do from home. You sure? It's no trouble, I'm sure. He smiled, shrugged. All right, but if you change your mind, you know where to find me. Her mother heard the exchange. Emelda, you used to love spending time with your uncle. You two were so close. Did something happen? Emelda felt sick. No, nothing happened. I just am busy. These are signs. Of course, these are signs. And this is actually how, this is why she got justice. Because, okay, let me not say it. Let's just proceed. You see exactly how she was able to get justice. Emelda felt sick. No, nothing happened. I'm busy. You seem distant lately from everyone. Is everything okay at school? Are your friends treating you well? Everything is fine, mom. I promise. But nothing was fine. Nothing would ever be fine again. Emelda started having panic attacks. The first one happened in the middle of the night. She woke up gasping, heart racing, chest tight, convinced someone was in her room. She turned on every light, checked the closet, under the bed, behind the door. No one was there. But the feeling didn't go away. Her mother heard her crying, came to check, found Emelda sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, rocking back and forth. This is sad. It's really sad. Sweetheart, what's wrong? What happened? Nothing, just a bad dream. Do you want to talk about it? No, I'm okay. Really? But it wasn't a dream. It was a memory, looping in her head, playing over and over, a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. A neighbor, Mrs. Pattinson, later told investigators she noticed changes too. Her mother used to wave every morning when she left for school, Mrs. Pattinson said. Big smile, always said good morning. Then one day she just stopped. She kept her head down, walked fast, like she was running from something. Another neighbor, Mr. Chen said Emelda used to help him carry groceries. Sweet girl, always offering to help. Then she started avoiding everyone, wouldn't make eye contact. I asked if she was okay once, and she just nodded and walked away. A classmate, Jordan, said Emelda used to sit in the front row, participated in every discussion, turned in assignment early. She loved that class, Jordan said. Professor Bennett used to call on her first because he knew she would have something smart to say. Then she started sitting in the back. Then she stopped coming altogether. I texted her a few times. She never responded. Another classmate, Rebecca, noticed something else. She looked tired all the time, Rebecca said, like she hasn't slept in weeks, and she would flinch if someone touched her. Even just a hand on her shoulder to get her attention, she would jump like she would be shocked. The signs were there, but no one knew what they were looking at because her blues wears a mask, and sometimes that mask looks like stress or exhaustion or teenage moodiness or academic pressure. It looks like 100 other things before it looks like what it actually is. And this is absolutely correct. Sometimes they go months, weeks, in fact, even years. You just see the person you know who is loving, cheerful, always smiling, always vibing, just for some reason start acting strange. These are signs, and they are signs that shouldn't be ignored by any family, any relative. Now, it looks like 100 other things before it finally looks like what it actually is. This one is the first warning sign in this house, but it would be the one that finally broke the silence because sometimes it takes an outsider to see what the people closest to you miss. Correct. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you are watching from. We'd love to hear from you. We believe stories like this deserve to be heard, and that's why we tell them. That's why we tell them. We tell them because we know telling them creates awareness. It educates families, parents, especially parents of this generation, right? People in my age category or just parents, right? It makes you keep an eye on your kids, your children, your beloved daughters. They deserve to be protected. They deserve to be protected. All right. Now let's continue. 3 weeks after the assault, Emelda went to a clinic, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. She wasn't feeling well. Nausea that wouldn't go away. Headaches that made her vision blur. Her mother insisted, made the appointment herself. Drove Emelda there, waited in a lobby. The doctor was a woman in her 50s, Dr. Helen Richardson. Kind eyes, calm voice. She'd been practicing medicine for over 25 years. She'd seen things. She knew how to read between the lines. She asked Emelda routine questions: how she was feeling, if she was eating regularly, if anything stressful had happened recently, if she was sexually active. Emelda answered in monosyllables. No, not really. No, no. Okay. Emelda answered in monosyllables. No, not really. No, no. But her body told a different story. Dr. Richardson noticed bruises on Emelda's upper arms. Faint, almost faded. 4 distinct marks, the size and shape of fingertips. How did you get these bruises? Dr. Richardson asked gently. Emelda looked down. I don't remember. I bruise easily. Emelda, this looks like grip marks. Did someone hold you? I don't know. Maybe I bumped into something. Dr. Richardson paused, made a note, looked at Emelda's charts, then looked at her. Really looked at her. Not at her symptoms, at her. At the same way she sat hushed in the chair, at the way she wouldn't make eye contact, at the way her hands shook when she answered questions. Emelda, Dr. Richardson said softly, are you safe at home? The question hung in the air, heavy, impossible. Emelda's throat tightened. She wanted to say yes, to keep pretending, to protect the lie she'd been living with. But something in the doctor's eyes made her feel like maybe, just maybe, she could tell the truth. I don't know. Emelda whispered. Dr. Richardson set down her clipboard, closed the door, pulled her chair closer, not too close, just close enough to show she was listening. You don't have to tell me everything right now, she said, but if someone hurts you, I need to know that it's not your fault and there are people who can help. Emelda started crying. She didn't mean to, didn't want to, but once the tears started, they wouldn't stop. 3 weeks of holding it in, 3 weeks of pretending, 3 weeks of drowning in silence. It all came pouring out. The doctor hardened her tissues, waited, didn't rush her, didn't push, just sat there with a patient that said, I believe you, even though Emelda hadn't said anything yet. Someone did hurt me, Emelda finally said. Her voice was barely audible. Someone I trusted. Dr. Richardson nodded. Can you tell me who? Emelda hesitated. This was the moment where everything would change, where the secret would become real, where our family would shatter. My uncle, she whispered. My uncle hurt me, and then in pieces, she told her. Not everything, not at first, just enough, just the truth that had been shocking her for weeks. She described the utility room, the jam door, the moment he walked in, the way he looked at her, the way he touched her, the things he said. She didn't use clinical terms, didn't have the vocabulary, just describe what happened in broken fragments. Dr. Richardson didn't interrupt, didn't ask for details, she just listened. And when Emelda was done, when she said as much as she could say, Dr. Richardson said 4 words that changed everything. I believe you. Survivors want to know that we believe them. That's just it. If as a parent you make your kids comfortable enough, you make them comfortable to know that you believe them when they tell you anything, trust me, they will tell you anything. They will tell you anything. They will tell you the even the least important, even where you are probably stressed and wouldn't want to listen, and even though it's an act that's not important, because you make them comfortable, they will tell you anything, right? So I believe when the doctor told her she believes her, trust me, it made all the difference. And we are going to make sure you are safe. That was the moment everything changed, because one person asked the question everyone else had missed. One person saw the past marks. One person gave Emelda permission to stop protecting the person who hurt her and started protecting herself. And start protecting herself. Now let's talk about the investigation, right? Dr. Richardson explained that she was a mandated reporter. That meant when someone disclosed abuse, especially abuse of this nature, she was legally required to report it to the authorities. Emelda panicked, but my family, they can't know. Not yet. Please, Emelda, I understand this is terrifying, but you deserve justice. And more importantly, you deserve to be safe. If he did this to you, he could do it to someone else. Exactly. That's it. If he knew, or if he knows that after that assault, he could walk free, like there will be no consequences, no repercussion. Trust me, he wouldn't flinch if he had the chance to do it to someone else. And we don't need such people in our societies. Okay, Emelda, I understand this is terrifying, but you deserve justice, and more importantly, you deserve to be safe. If he did this to you, he could do it to someone else. He said, Emelda's voice broke. He said it would destroy my family if anyone found out. He said that because he wants you to stay silent. That's how abusers keep control, by making you feel responsible for their actions, but you are not responsible. He is. Dr. Richardson made the call while Emelda sat in the exam room. Within 2 hours, a detective arrived, Detective Sarah Kim, 38 years old, 15 years with the police department, 10 years working sexual assault cases. She would hear stories that would break most people, but she would never hardened, never stopped caring. She walked into the exam room with a soft knock. Emelda, I'm Detective Kim. Dr. Richardson called me. Is it okay if I sit down? Emelda nodded. Detective Kim sat across from her, not behind the desk, not in an intimidating position, just at high level. Human to human. I want to know you are not in trouble. Detective Kim said, and you don't have to do anything you are not ready for. But if you want to make a statement, if you want to tell me what happened, I will listen and I will believe you. And I will do everything in my power to make sure you are safe. Does that sound okay? Emelda nodded again. Can we do it here? She asked. I don't want to go to the police station. I don't want. We can absolutely do it here, Detective Kim said. Wherever you feel most comfortable. They moved to a private consultation room, soft lighting, comfortable chairs, a box of tissues on the table. Detective Kim pulled out a note. I'm going to take notes while you talk, she explained. And in any moment you need to stop, we stop. If we need a break, we take a break. You are in control here. Okay, okay. Take your time. Start wherever it feels right. Emelda began. Her voice shook. She had to stop several times, but she kept going. She described the morning of September 28th, the power outrage, the decision to do laundry, the door that jammed. She described waiting, calling for help, hearing the front door open, feeling relieved. She described the moment Marcus walked in, the way her relief turned into confusion, then to fear. She described his words, the things he said about caring for her, about being patient, about it being time to be honest. And she described trying to leave, him blocking her, the way her body stopped working, the freeze response. She didn't have words for, but tried to explain. She described what he did, not in graphic detail, but enough for Detective Kim to understand the full scope of what happened. She described the aftermath, him telling her to keep it in the family, him facing the door large, him leaving like nothing happened. She described him showing up at dinner that same night, playing the role of beloved uncle while she sat across from him, drowning. I love her mother for this. I love Emelda for this. She had the memory. Good for her. Detective Kim didn't flinch, didn't look away, didn't show shock or disgust. She took notes, asked clarifying questions, never once made Emelda feel like she was being doubted. What time did this happen? Around 11 a.m., maybe a little after. And you said he fixed the door latch after. How did he do that? He just twisted it. It opened easily, like it was never stuck. Did anyone else know he was at your home that day? I don't think so. My parents were at work, my siblings were at school. Did he say anything about coming over? Like, did anyone invite him? No. He just showed up. When Emelda got to the part where she strummed her skin raw in the shower, she broke down, sobbed so hard that she couldn't breathe. I should have fought harder, she said between gaps. I should have screamed. I should have. Detective Kim leaned forward. Emelda, listen to me. What happened to you is not your fault. If you're a survivor watching this, listening to this story, I need you to understand this. Whatever had happened wasn't your fault. It has never been your fault. You were manipulated. Predators manipulate. So never you blame yourself. Even anytime. Never you think it's your fault. Forgive yourself. In fact, it was never your fault. Right? Your body did what it needed to do to survive. That's not weakness, that is survival. Do you understand? Emelda looked up, but I didn't stop him. He didn't give you a choice. That's why it's a crime. That's why what he did to you is assault. Because you didn't consent. Because he used his position of trust and power to hurt you. None of that is on you. The interview lasted 2 hours, but the end, Emelda was exhausted, wrung up, but also something else, lighter, like a weight had been lifted, like the secret that had been suffocating her had finally found her. Detective Kim promised to keep in touch, said they would start investigating him immediately, said Emelda was brave for coming forward. You might not feel brave right now, Detective Kim said, but you are. Coming forward takes more courage than most people will ever need in their entire lives. Over the next few days, investigators worked quickly. They pulled phone records. Marcus' cell phone pinged off a tower near Emelda's house at 10:58 a.m. on September 28th. He would stay in the area until 11:47 a.m., nearly an hour. He would told his sister, Emelda's aunt, that he was only at the house for 10 minutes to return a drill. The timeline didn't match. They checked the utility room, brought in a forensic team, found the door latch was deeply faulty, confirmed it could jam easily, matched Emelda's story. They found Marcus' fingerprints on the inside of the door, on the handle, on the frame. He would be in that room. They interviewed neighbors. Mrs. Patterson remembered seeing Marcus' car parked outside that morning. I thought it was strange, she said. Usually he parks in his own driveway, right? But that day he parked right in front of their house. I remember because I was watering my plant and I waved, but he didn't wave back. Just walked inside real quick. Mr. Chen saw him leave. I was taking out the trash around lunchtime, saw him coming out of their front door. He looked, I don't know, rushed, like he was in a hurry. Didn't stop to chat like he usually does. They put security footage from the neighbor's ring doorbell, right? Caught Marcus arriving at 10:56 a.m., leaving at 11:46 a.m. 50 minutes, not 10. They subpoenaed his phone, found internet history, okay, search history from 2 weeks before the assault, searches about how to disable home security cameras, how long DNA evidence lasts, whether assault can be proven without physical evidence. The search history painted a picture of someone who had been planning something. The evidence was building, but they needed more. They needed to talk to Marcus. On October 15th, Detective Kim and her partner, Detective Ray Martinez, brought Marcus in for questioning. They didn't arrest him, just asked if he would be willing to come down to the station to answer some questions. He agreed, seemed confident, almost amused. They sat him in the interview room, standard setup table, 3 chairs, recording equipment. Detective Kim started with softball questions. How long had he lived in the neighborhood? How close was he to his family? How often did he see Emelda? Marcus answered easily, relaxed, smiled often. I love my family, he said. I'll do anything for them, especially Emelda. That girl is special, smart, going places. I'm proud of her. When was the last time you saw her? Detective Kim asked. Oh, I see her all the time, probably last Sunday at family dinner. What about during the week? Do you stop by the house? Sometimes, if I'm in the area, if someone needs help with something. Were you at a house on September 28th? That was a Tuesday. Marcus paused just for a second. September 28th, I'll have to check my calendar. Take your time. He pulled out his phone, scrolled. Oh yeah, I stopped by real quick to return a drill I borrowed from Emelda's dad. Maybe 10 minutes. What time was that? Morning, sometime, maybe 10:30, 11. I don't remember exactly. Was anyone home? I don't think so. I knocked, no one answered, so I just left the drill on the porch. Detective Kim made a note. You didn't go inside? No, like I said, no one was home. That's interesting, Detective Martinez said, because we have a footage of you going inside at 10:56 a.m. and leaving at 11:46 a.m. That's 50 minutes, not 10. Marcus' face changed. The confidence cracked. I must have misremembered. Yeah, I went inside, but just for a few minutes. 50 minutes is a long few minutes, Detective Kim said. What were you doing inside for 50 minutes if no one was home? I was fixing something. I was fixing something. The drill and a door. Yeah, a door was thinking. Which door? I don't remember. One of the back doors. The utility room? Marcus went still. Maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. Was Emelda home? No, I told you no one was home. Detective Kim slid a photo across the table. Phone records. Your phone was actively being used during that time. You made a call at 11:15 a.m. to your younger sister. That's 15 minutes after you say Emelda wasn't home. Why would you call your sister from inside an empty house? I don't know. I don't remember. Marcus, we know Emelda was home. We know she was in the utility room. We know the door jammed. And we know you were there. So I'm going to ask you one more time. What happened in that room? Marcus' jaw tightened. He looked at the door, at the mirror, realizing this was a trap, realizing he would already said too much. I want a lawyer. That's your right, Detective Kim said. But before you go, I want to know that Emelda told us everything and we believe her. And the evidence supports her. So whatever story you're about to tell your lawyer, make sure it matches the facts. Marcus stood up, looked at both detective. She's lying, he said. I don't know what she told you, but she's lying. She's not, Detective Kim said calmly. But you are, and we are going to prove it. Marcus left, right? But the damage was done. He would change his story, lied about the timeline, put himself at the scene, admitted to being in the utility room. They had him. 3 days later, they arrested Marcus at his house, charged him with first-degree sexual assault, unlawful restraint, abuse of a position of trust. He posted bail, went home, told his family it was all misunderstanding, that Emelda was confused, that the police were making something out of nothing. Some of them believed him, but not all. Serves him right. But trust me, that's not all. When the family found out the charges, the compound exploded. Emelda's mother believed her immediately. Of course, she would believe her daughter. She would know something was wrong, had felt it in her guts for weeks. She heard Emelda sob with her. I'm so sorry, she kept saying. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. You couldn't have known, Mom, but I should have. You are my daughter. I should have known. Emelda's father was silent for a long time, right? He sat in his chair, stared at the wall, hands shook. When he finally spoke, his voice was broken. I let him in our house, he said. I gave him a key. I trusted him with you. That's not your fault. Yes, it is. I should have protected you. That's my job, and I failed. Daniel and Grace didn't fully understand. They knew something bad had happened, knew Uncle Marcus had hurt Emelda, but they were too young to grasp the full weight of it. Is Uncle Marcus going to jail? You okay? Is Uncle Marcus going to jail? Grace asked. Maybe, Emelda said. Did he hurt you like the bad guys on TV hurt people? Something like that. I'm glad he's going to jail then. Bad guys should go to jail. If only the arrest of the family felt that way. Marcus' sister Emelda's aunt, Patricia, right? Refused to believe it, refused to even consider it. He would never do that. Patricia said when Emelda's mother called to tell her, Marcus has never hurt anyone in his life. Right? This is ridiculous. Patricia, Emelda wouldn't lie about this. She's mistaken. She's confused. Maybe she had a dream or she's not confused. He assaulted her in our home while we were at work. I don't believe that. I will never believe that. Marcus is my brother. I know him. I know him too. And I believe my daughter. Patricia hung up, called other relatives, started spreading her own version of events, that Emelda was lying, that she was jealous of Marcus for some reason, that she'd always been dramatic, that this was revenge for something, something coincided. Okay, some coincided with her. Believe Marcus over Emelda. Stopped talking to Emelda's parents. Sent angry messages. Accused them of tearing the family apart. One relative, Emelda's uncle Thomas, called Emelda directly. Do you know what you are doing? He said. His voice was cold. You are destroying this family. Your aunt Patricia is devastated. Your grandmother can't stop crying. Marcus might go to prison. Is that what you want? Who cares? Who cares? I didn't do anything, Emelda said. Her voice shook. He hurt me, so you say, but you don't have any proof. It's your word against his, and you are going to ruin his life over something that might have not even happened in the way you think it did. It happened exactly the way I said. He did it. Or did you misunderstand? Maybe he was trying to help you and... Okay. Let me come again. Sorry, let me come again. He said, it happened... Emelda replied, it happened the way I said. Then the Okuna said, did it? Or did you misunderstand? Maybe he was trying to help you and you took it the wrong way. Maybe you've been watching too many crime shows and now you think every interaction is assault. Emelda felt like she'd been slapped. You don't believe me? I believe you. Believe it. But that doesn't make it true. He admitted to being there. The police have evidence. Evidence can be misinterpreted. People make mistakes. But once you accuse someone of something like this, it ruins them forever. even if it's not true. Do you want that on your conscience? Get off my phone, Emelda said. Before you hang up, think about what you are doing. Think about the damage. Think about whether you really want to go through with this. She hung up, sat on her bed, cried until she couldn't breathe. Her mother found her 20 minutes later, held her, rocked her. I'm ruining everything, Emelda sobbed. Wow. Again, she's feeling guilty. Bad. Everyone hates me. Maybe they are right. Maybe I should just drop it. No, her mother said firmly. Don't you dare let them make you feel guilty or tell you the truth. They are protecting him because it's easier than accepting what he is. But you are not ruining this family. He did the moment he decided to hurt you. Sunday dinner stopped. The compound that used to feel warm and safe became a battlefield. Some relatives stopped speaking to Emelda's parents, crossed the street to avoid them, turned their backs at the grocery store. Others whispered behind their hands. Well, spread rumors, said Emelda had been sleeping around and got caught and blamed Marcus to save face. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Said she was mentally unstable. Said she would always been a troublemaker. Marcus supporters organized, started a fund to help pay for his legal defense, posted on social media about how he was being wrongly accused, how the justice system was failing innocent men, how women lied about these things all the time. Emelda saw the post, saw people she would known her entire life calling her a liar, calling her worse things. She deleted her social media account, stopped leaving the house. Her mother stood firm. If believing my daughter destroys this family, then this family was already broken. I love that. I love that belief. And I would rather stand with her in truth than stand with them in lie. Her father agreed. We've lost people, he said, but we haven't lost what matters. We still have each other. We still have the truth. But it hurts. God, it hurts. Because family was supposed to protect you. Family was supposed to believe you. And half of Emelda's family choose a predator over a victim. Choose comfort over truth. Some people fear truth. And because of that, they embrace a false belief. Whatever will make humans feel comfortable is what they go for. Comfort. They would rather be comfortable thinking it's a lie than accept the fact that it actually happened. And we should be wary of these people. The family was divided and it would never be whole again. But Emelda realized something devastating and important. Protection was never guaranteed, not even from the people who were supposed to love you most. Sometimes the people who hurt you have bigger smiles and better alibis. Sometimes the truth is slowly. Sometimes justice means losing everything familiar. Okay. Sometimes justice means losing everything familiar and learning to build something new from the ashes. Now let's talk about the justice. 6 months later, the case went viral, right? Went to viral. The prosecution was led by Assistant District Anthony Monica Chen, 42 years old, 20 years of experience. She had handled hundreds of assault cases, won most of them, lost some that still kept her up at night. She believed Emelda, believed in this case. On the morning of February 14th, that was Valentine, the courtroom filled, right? Emelda walked in with her mother on one side and Detective Kim on the other side. Her father and siblings sat in the front row. On the other side of the room, Marcus sat at the defense table, clean suit, calm expression. His lawyer, David Grant, was known for getting clients acquitted. He was expensive, good, ruthless. Marcus supporters filled the gallery behind him. His sister Patricia, Uncle Thomas, several cousins, friends from church, they stared at Emelda as she walked past. She kept her eyes forward. The judge entered, Judge Elizabeth Warren. Stern, fair, no tolerance for critics. Right? Probably I didn't pronounce that right. We are here. We are here for the case of State versus Marcus Anthony Chen. She said charges include first-degree sexual assault, unlawful restraint, and abuse of position of trust. How does the defense plead? Not guilty, Your Honor, David Grant said. The trial began. The prosecution laid out their case methodically. ADA Chen called Detective Kim to the stand first. She walked through the investigation, the timeline, the phone records, the security footage, the neighbors' testimonies. Detective Kim, can you explain the significance of the phone records? Yes, Mr. Cheng claimed he was only at the house for 10 minutes, but phone records placed him there for 15 minutes. His phone was actively being used. He made a call to his sister at 11:15 a.m. from inside the house. And what did the security footage show? It showed Mr. Chen, that is Okomakos, arriving at 10:56 a.m. and leaving at 11:46 a.m. His timeline doesn't match his statement. David Grant cross-examined. Detective, isn't it possible Mr. Chen simply misremembered the time? It's possible, but he was adamant it was only 10 minutes. That's a significant discrepancy. Of course, people misremember things all the time, don't they? They do, but usually not 40 minutes. Exactly. Next, ADA Chen called Dr. Richardson. She testified about Emelda's state when she came to the clinic, the bruising, the emotional distress, the way she disclosed her abuse. Dr. Richardson, in your professional opinion, was Emelda's account consistent with someone who had been assaulted? Yes. The physical signs, the emotional trauma, the way she disclosed, it was all consistent with sexual assault survivors. David Grant tried to poke holes, but you didn't examine her immediately after the alleged assault, correct? Correct. It was 3 weeks later. So you can't definitely say those bruises came from Mr. Chen, can you? I can say they were consistent with grip marks. The size and placement matched her description of being held, but you can't prove it. I can't prove it beyond the physical evidence and her testimonies. No. Then it was time for Emelda to take the stand. She walked up slowly, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth, sat down. ADA Chen approached gently. Emelda, I know this is difficult, but I need you to tell the jury what happened on September 28th. Take your time. Emelda took a breath, looked at the jury, not at Marcus. She couldn't look at him. I was home alone that morning, she began. The power went out. I decided to do laundry. She walked through the entire day, the jam door, calling for help, hearing the front door open, seeing Marcus. The moment relief turned to fear. She described his words, the way he trapped her, the assault. Her voice shook but didn't break. She kept going. When she got to the part about telling him, right? When she got to the part about him telling her to keep it in the family, several jurors leaned forward, paying close attention. What did you do after I left? ADHN asked. I stood in that room for a long time. Then I went to the bathroom. I tried to wash it away, but I couldn't. I couldn't make it go away. Why didn't you tell anyone right away? Because I was scared, obviously. Because he said it would destroy my family. Because I didn't think anyone would believe me. He was Uncle Marcus. Everyone loved him. Who was I? Who was I compared to that? When did you finally tell someone? 3 weeks later, at the clinic, Dr. Richardson asked if I was okay. Dr. Richardson asked if I was safe at home, and I realized I wasn't. I hadn't been, and I couldn't keep pretending. David Grant's cross-examination was brutal. He questioned her timeline, her memory, whether she'd been drinking that day, whether she had any history of mental illness. Emelda, you said you froze, that you couldn't move, couldn't fight, but you also said you pushed him. Which is it? Then she replied, I tried to push him. My body wouldn't cooperate the way I wanted it to. So you are saying your body wasn't under your control? That's what happens when you are terrified, and that's correct. When someone you trust betrays you, your body shuts down. Or maybe you are confused about what actually happened. Maybe this was a misunderstanding that you've blown out of proportion. It wasn't a misunderstanding. He assaulted me. You didn't scream, did you? No. You didn't call the police immediately. No. You didn't tell your parents that same day. No. You waited 3 weeks. Plenty of time to create a story. Emra looked at him directly. I didn't create anything. I survived something. And then I reported it. That's not a crime. What he did to me is. The courtroom was silent. David Grant tried a few more questions, but Emelda didn't break, didn't change her story, just kept telling the truth. Calm, steady, unshakable. The defense called Marcus to the stand. He told his version that he stopped by to fix a door, that Emelda had been there but didn't barely interacted. Okay, but they barely interacted. Wow, wow. At first, he claimed she wasn't, no one was home. Now, now she was there all of a sudden, but just that they didn't interact. Smart. That he would left after a few minutes, but ADA Chen tore him apart on cross. Mr. Chen, you said you left after a few minutes, but we have evidence you were there for 15 minutes. Can you explain that? I must have lost track of time. You lost track of 40 extra minutes. Wow. I was working. Time gets away from you. What were you working on? The door latch and some other things. What other things I don't remember? You don't remember what you spent 15 minutes doing? It was a month ago. But you do remember that Emelda was home and you barely interacted. Yes, that's convenient. Exactly. That's convenient. You remember the parts that helped your story but forgot the parts that don't. David Grant objected, sustained, but the damage was done. ADA Chen continued, Mr. Chen, we found internet searches on your phone, searches about DNA evidence, about how long physical evidence lasts, about whether assaults can be proven without witnesses. Can you explain those? I watch crime shows. I was curious. You searched those things 2 weeks before the assault. That's quite a coincidence. I didn't assault anyone. Then why did you lie about how long you were in the house? I didn't lie. I misremembered. Why did you tell Emelda to keep it in the family? I never said that. She testified under oath that you did. She's lying. Or you are. The trial lasted 4 days. Closing arguments were powerful. ADA Chen looked at the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the evidence. You've heard the Emelda story. You've seen the timeline, the phone records, the security footage. You've watched Mr. Chen lie on the stand, change the story, contradict himself. The defense wants you to believe this is a misunderstanding, but there's no misunderstanding here. Marcus Chen is a predator who used his position as a trusted family member to assault his niece, and then he tried to silence her, tried to make her feel responsible for his crime. Don't let him get away with it. Believe Emelda because she's telling the truth. David Grant, that is the defense lawyer, tried to create reasonable doubt. The prosecution has painted my client as a monster, but where is the physical evidence? Where is the proof beyond one person's words? Emelda waited 3 weeks to report. Her story has inconsistencies. Her memory could be faulty. And in America, we don't convict people based on accusation. We convict based on proof. And there isn't enough proof here. But the jury didn't agree. They deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the four women stood on the charge of the first degree assault. Okay, let's go again. But the jury didn't agree. They deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the four women stood on the charge of first degree sexual assault. How do you find? Guilty. On the charge of unlawful restraint. Guilty. On the charge of abuse of position of trust. Guilty. The courtroom erupted. Patricia sobbed. Other supporters shouted. The judge called for order. Marcus showed no emotion, just stared straight ahead. Emelda cried, but they were tears of relief, of vindication. Wow. Of knowing she had been heard. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Warren. Judge Warren didn't hold back. Mr. Chen, you violated the trust of your family in the worst possible way. You assaulted a young woman who looked up to you, who trusted you, and then you tried to silence her. You showed no remorse, no accountability, no recognition of the harm you caused. The law allows for a sentence of up to 15 years and sentencing you to 12 years in state prison. No parole for the first 6 years. You will also be required to register as a sex offender for life. Marcus was led out in handcuffs, right? As he passed Emelda, he looked at her. She looked back, and for the first time in months, she didn't look away. She watched him disappear through the door, watched the man who to her safety get away. It wasn't enough. 12 years couldn't undo what he had done, couldn't give her back the version of herself that existed before September 28th. but it was something. It was justice. It was a jury of 12 people saying we believed you. It was a judge saying what he did was wrong. It was the world finally seeing him for what he was truly. Today, Emelda lived in a different city, 3 hours away from the compound, from the memories, from the people who didn't believe her. She finished her degree, graduated with honors, started working for a non-profit that helps assault survivors navigate the legal system. She found purpose in her pain, found a way to turn her trauma into something that helps others. Sorry. She's in therapy, right? She has been she has been for 2 years. Some days are better than others. Some days she can talk about what happened without falling apart. Other days the weight of it crushes her. That's trauma. It doesn't have a timeline, doesn't follow rules. You just learn to carry it. Her mother visits often. They've grown closer, bonded by truth. They choose truth when others choose lies. Emeda's father calls every Sunday, tells her he loves her, tells her he's proud of her, tells her he's sorry he didn't protect her. She tells him it wasn't his fault. Danny and Grace visit during holidays. They are older now, old enough to understand what happened, what it meant. They tell her they love her, that they believe her, that they always will. Emeda doesn't talk to most of her extended family anymore. Patricia still insists Marcus is innocent, still send occasional messages saying Emeda ruined his life. Emeda blocks them, moves on. Some wounds don't heal with time, they just become scars you learn to live with. Relationships you can never get back, trust you can never fully restore. She's rebuilding slowly, learning how to feel safe again, how to trust again, how to exist in the world as someone who survived the unsurvivable. She has good days, days where she laughs with friends, where she goes on dates, where she feels like maybe, just maybe, she's going to be okay. She has bad days, days where she can't get out of the bed, where, now, every footstep sounds like this, where she relieves that money in the utility room over and over, but she keeps going because that's what survivors do. Emeda says the hardest part wasn't the assault itself, it was the aftermath. The people who didn't believe her, the family members who chose him over her, the realization that safety is fragile, that that trust can be weaponized, that people who are supposed to protect you can be the ones you need protection from. Most abuse doesn't happen in dark alleys. It doesn't happen with strangers wearing masks. It happens in familiar rooms by people we trust, people who have keys to our homes, people who sit across from us at dinners, people who taught us to ride bikes and help us with homeworks, people who were supposed to keep us safe. The statistics are staggering. 1 in 4 women will experience sexual assault in their lifetime, and this is true. Most of them know their attackers, family members, friends, trusted community members, and most of them won't report because they know what comes next: the doubt, the blame, the accusation, the loss of family and community. Her mother reported anyway, fought anyway, won anyway, but she paid a price. Marcus is in prison, but her mother lost half of her family, lost the compound where she grew up, lost Sunday dinners and birthday parties, and she feeling of being around by people who loved, okay, lost Sunday dinners and birthday parties, and the feeling of being around, surrounded by people who love her. She gained something, okay, sorry, she gained something too. She gained her voice, her agency, her truth. She gained the knowledge that she's stronger than she ever thought possible, that she can survive things that should have destroyed her, that she can look evil in the face and say, no more. Emelda hasn't used that washing machine since that day. Her parents replaced it, got rid of the old one, tore out the utility room entirely, built something new in its place, but Emelda still won't use it. Can't. The memory is too strong. Some places stay haunted. Some rooms never feel safe again, and that's okay. She's learned that healing isn't about going back to who we were before. It's about becoming someone new, someone who carries the weight but doesn't let it define her, someone who survived and decided that surviving wasn't enough. She wanted to live, and she is day by day, breath by breath. She's living. If this story moved you, share it. Just share it. People needs to know. People needs to learn. People needs to see. People needs to be aware. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss stories like this. Right now, I tell the stories myself, no longer using AI voice, or it's now me. Okay, please support us by subscribing, share this video, and God bless you. Thank you for supporting this channel. We are growing, and it's because of you. Thank you. Next story will be about the case I'm working on now, trying to uncover, is about a wife who got abused by her brother-in-law, her husband's elder brother. We will uncover it next week.